The courtroom was silent, but the tension felt louder than any shout, any gavel strike, any whispered prayer from the back row. Just when everyone believed the Mo3 case had faded into background noise, a sudden update dropped and shifted the entire atmosphere instantly. Fans are shocked, lawyers looked uneasy, and cameras locked in as the judge's words echoed across the room. Emotions ran high, and every face told a different story of fear, anger, and unfinished business. Then all eyes turned to Yella Beezy. His reaction wasn't loud, but it was heavy. A stiff posture, a tightened jaw, a stare that lingered too long. In that moment, the internet sensed something was off. Within minutes, clips started circulating, slowed down, zoomed in, dissected frame by frame. Fans are shocked because this wasn't the reaction of an innocent bystander. This looked personal. The family was left divided, supporters argued online, and old rumors suddenly felt brand new again. Whispers filled the courtroom halls, and phones buzzed nonstop as speculation exploded. Was that reaction guilt, shock, or something deeper nobody wants exposed? One update, one look, and suddenly, a case everyone thought they understood became more complicated than ever right now. The update hit the courtroom like a sudden shift in weather, calm turning heavy without warning. Lawyers straightened papers they already knew by heart. Family members leaned forward, and the gallery went quiet in a way that felt deliberate. This was not supposed to be dramatic, yet drama found its way in anyway. The judge's tone changed, measured but firm, and the words landed differently than anyone expected. Fans watching online felt it instantly. Emotions ran high as whispers traveled faster than the official record, and the atmosphere thickened with unresolved history. Mo3's name carried weight in that room, not just as a case file, but as a memory that refused to fade. His family sat together but emotionally miles apart, each expression revealing a private struggle. One relative wiped tears, another stared straight ahead, refusing to blink. Friends exchanged looks that said everything without saying a word. The update itself sounded procedural, but context made it explosive. It hinted at timelines, communications, and movements that reopened conversations many people thought were settled. Then attention drifted, almost naturally, toward Yella Beezy. Cameras didn't need direction. His reaction was subtle, yet loud enough to spark instant debate. He shifted in his seat, exhaled slowly, and avoided eye contact with anyone near him. Fans are shocked because moments like that don't exist in a vacuum. Every movement becomes a statement, every pause a potential confession, at least in the court of public opinion. Social media feeds refreshed nonstop as clips circulated with captions full of question marks and accusations. Outside the courtroom, the crowd grew restless. Bloggers, local reporters, and street commentators whispered theories into phones, feeding an algorithm hungry for tension. Some claimed the update confirmed old rumors, others argued it changed nothing legally, but everything emotionally. The family was left divided in their reactions, with one side believing justice was finally inching closer, and another fearing the wounds were being reopened for nothing. Emotions ran high as supporters argued loudly, each convinced they saw the truth clearly. Inside, lawyers requested brief pauses, not for strategy, but to let the room breathe. Even the judge seemed aware that something intangible had shifted. Mo3 supporters felt a mix of hope and dread, unsure whether this update was progress or provocation. The silence between statements grew longer, heavier, as if the room itself was listening. Fans are shocked because the energy felt less like a hearing and more like the opening scene of a larger confrontation. As proceedings continued, side conversations became unavoidable. A friend of the family leaned over, whispering that this was exactly what they feared, that old names would resurface and stir chaos. Another voice pushed back, insisting the truth demanded discomfort. The tension wasn't just legal, it was personal, cultural, and deeply rooted in a scene where reputation matters as much as facts. The update, while limited in scope, acted like a spark in dry grass. Yella Beezy's presence alone intensified speculation. He didn't speak, yet his silence became its own narrative. Fans are shocked at how quickly perception forms, how a single reaction can outweigh hours of testimony. Comment sections filled with debates, some defending his right to composure. Others convinced the body language meant everything. Emotions ran high as influencers replayed the footage, slowing it down, narrating expressions like forensic evidence. Meanwhile, Mo3's family faced cameras as they exited briefly into the hallway. One member refused interviews. Another offered a short statement about patience and faith. The family was left divided not just among themselves, but by public expectation. Some fans demanded answers now. Others urged respect and restraint. The update had turned spectators into participants, each person feeling invested in an outcome they could not control. Back inside, the judge reiterated boundaries, reminding everyone this was not a spectacle. Yet spectacle lingered anyway, fueled by history and unresolved pain. Lawyers exchanged glances that suggested more was coming later, not today, but soon. The update felt like a warning shot, signaling future developments without revealing them fully. Fans are shocked because ambiguity often breeds the loudest conclusions. As the session adjourned, tension followed everyone out the door. Conversations spilled into the street, into live streams, into late-night group chats. Yella Beezy left without comment, surrounded by eyes searching for meaning in every step. Mo3's name trended again, tied to fresh questions and old emotions. Nothing was resolved, yet everything felt stirred. This update didn't close a chapter. It cracked it open, reminding everyone that some stories refuse to stay quiet. As night approached, the reactions only intensified, proving the courtroom was just the beginning of the day's chaos. Fans gathered online, dissecting every angle, every rumor, every unconfirmed detail that floated across timelines. Emotions ran high because for many, this case symbolized more than justice. It represented loyalty, loss, and the unspoken rules of the streets. Friends of Mo3 shared cryptic posts that fueled speculation, while others urged calm, warning that assumptions could do real damage. Behind closed doors, conversations continued quietly. Family members argued softly about strategy, about whether speaking out helped or hurt. The family was left divided over how much trust to place in the process versus the public. One voice insisted silence showed strength, another argued silence allowed narratives to spiral. Fans are shocked at how quickly private grief became public debate, replayed endlessly for views and engagement. Industry insiders added fuel by hinting at knowledge they refused to fully share. Phrases like, "wait until the next update," and "this isn't over," spread rapidly, amplifying suspense. Emotions ran high as even neutral observers felt pulled into choosing sides. The line between fact and speculation blurred, and the algorithm rewarded the loudest voices. Each new clip reignited the conversation, making the update feel bigger with every repost. Supporters claimed restraint showed maturity. Critics argued it was calculated. Fans are shocked by how absence can speak as loudly as presence. Every hour without a statement felt intentional to some, suspicious to others. The courtroom update had transformed into a cultural moment where perception mattered as much as proceedings. As the night wore on, one thing became clear. This was no longer just about a legal update. It was about unresolved tensions, unanswered questions, and the emotional fallout left behind. The family was left divided, the fans were restless, and the story continued to grow beyond the walls where it began. Whatever came next, the update ensured that silence would no longer be an option for anyone involved. Speculation still dominated conversations, proving the update had lasting impact. Fans are shocked at how one moment reshaped narratives overnight. Emotions ran high across communities connected by music, memory, and loyalty. The family was left divided, the public remained divided, and the tension refused to settle. What started as a courtroom update became a spark, promising that the next development would arrive louder, heavier, and impossible to ignore. Everyone sensed the calm before another storm, knowing the story had only begun unfolding, with consequences waiting just beyond the next headline. Soon, attention would return to courtrooms, cameras, and unanswered questions. By the next morning, the tension from the courtroom had followed everyone home, settling into conversations like an unwelcome guest. Social media timelines were flooded, not with facts, but with feelings. Fans are shocked at how quickly the narrative shifted from a legal update to a full-blown cultural debate. Clips from the hearing played on loop, stitched together with commentary that blurred speculation and reality. Every raised eyebrow, every pause, every breath was treated like a coded message waiting to be decoded. Mo3's family woke up to headlines they didn't ask for. Phones rang nonstop. Messages poured in from supporters and critics alike. Emotions ran high inside their circle, where grief still felt raw and unresolved. One family member argued that the update proved progress, that patience was finally paying off. Another felt the opposite, saying the system was reopening wounds without offering real closure. The family was left divided, not by love, but by how much hope they were willing to risk again. Across the city, conversations spilled into barbershops, studios, and street corners. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone felt entitled to share it loudly. Fans are shocked at how fast theories became convictions in the public eye. Some insisted the update confirmed suspicions they'd carried for years. Others warned that assumptions were dangerous, reminding people that reactions were not evidence. Still, the algorithm rewarded certainty, not caution, pushing the loudest voices to the top. Yella Beezy's silence became its own storm. No statements, no posts, no carefully worded responses from his team. Emotions ran high as supporters defended his right to remain quiet, while critics framed the silence as avoidance. Commentators dissected his courtroom demeanor again, replaying it side by side with old interviews, lyrics, and public appearances. Fans are shocked at how quickly context was stripped away, replaced with narratives designed to provoke reaction rather than understanding. Behind the scenes, industry insiders whispered about pressure building from all sides. Some claimed there were meetings happening quietly, conversations about reputations, endorsements, and future moves. None of it was confirmed, but the hints alone fueled speculation. The family was left divided on whether these rumors mattered or were just distractions from the legal process. Emotions ran high because every rumor felt like another reminder that their loss had become content. As the day unfolded, friends of Mo3 shared cryptic messages online. Short phrases about truth, timing, and patience spread rapidly. Fans are shocked by how these posts were instantly interpreted as confirmations of hidden knowledge. Screenshots circulated with captions adding meanings that were never explicitly stated. The line between support and sensationalism blurred further, making it harder to separate genuine emotion from performance. Media outlets joined the frenzy, inviting commentators to debate possibilities without new information. Heated arguments filled live streams, with raised voices and dramatic pauses designed to keep viewers hooked. Emotions ran high as panelists accused each other of bias, loyalty, or clout chasing. The update itself almost disappeared beneath layers of opinion, its original context buried under reaction videos and trending hashtags. Meanwhile, Mo3's loved ones tried to maintain some sense of normalcy, though nothing felt normal anymore. Simple routines felt heavier, overshadowed by constant reminders of the case. The family was left divided over how much engagement with the public was healthy. One voice pushed for transparency, believing silence allowed misinformation to grow. Another argued that stepping back was the only way to protect their peace. Fans are shocked at how personal decisions became public talking points overnight. Yella Beezy was reportedly advised to stay low, according to unnamed sources who claimed to know the strategy. Whether true or not, the idea spread fast. Emotions ran high as supporters framed it as smart legal caution, while critics painted it as calculated distance. Every sighting, or lack of one, became news. Even unrelated movements were folded into the story, giving the impression that everything connected back to that courtroom moment. As evening approached, the tone online grew darker. Accusations became sharper, language more aggressive. Fans are shocked at how quickly empathy disappeared, replaced by the desire to be first, loudest, or most certain. Moderation struggled to keep up as debates turned personal. The update had unleashed more than discussion. It had reopened divisions that had never fully healed. Late-night live streams pulled thousands of viewers, all waiting for a revelation that never came. Influencers promised new information, hinting at sources and documents they couldn't yet reveal. Emotions ran high as audiences speculated together, filling silence with imagination. The family was left divided not only by internal disagreements, but by the external pressure to respond, explain, or deny narratives forming without their consent. By midnight, exhaustion set in, but the conversation refused to slow. Fans are shocked at how one Courtroom update transformed into a non-stop cycle of reaction. The legal process moved at its own pace, indifferent to trending topics, yet public perception raced ahead. For many, it felt like the truth was being chased, but never quite reached. As the night closed, uncertainty lingered. No new facts emerged, no statements clarified intentions. What remained was tension, magnified by repetition and emotion. The family was left divided, the audience remained divided, and the silence between official updates felt louder than any headline. Everyone sensed that whatever came next would not just affect a case, but reshape how the story itself was told. As days passed, the tension didn't fade. It mutated. What started as shock hardened into suspicion, and suspicion slowly turned into conviction for many watching from the outside. Fans are shocked by how fast minds were made up without a single new fact entering the conversation. The Courtroom update became less about law and more about loyalty. Lines were drawn, and once drawn, they were defended fiercely. Emotions ran high as supporters on both sides spoke with certainty, even when certainty was impossible. Mo3's family felt the weight of that certainty pressing in on them. Private grief was no longer private. Every public appearance, every absence, every facial expression became evidence in narratives they didn't create. One family member reportedly broke down behind closed doors, overwhelmed by the constant noise. Another grew angrier, insisting that silence was being mistaken for weakness. The family was left divided between protecting their emotional health and feeling obligated to speak for Mo3's legacy. Behind the scenes, friendships began to strain. People who once stood together found themselves disagreeing over how the story was being handled. Emotions ran high in quiet rooms where voices were raised not for the cameras, but out of frustration and fear. Some felt the update proved the system was finally listening. Others believed it was just another delay disguised as progress. Fans are shocked at how insiders began distancing themselves from one another, careful about what they said and who they said it to. Meanwhile, the internet discovered old footage. Interviews, freestyle clips, studio moments, all resurfaced with new captions and darker interpretations. Nothing was allowed to exist in its original context anymore. Emotions ran high as creators framed coincidences as clues and body language as confessions. Fans are shocked by how the past was rewritten in real time, shaped to fit whatever conclusion the viewer already believed. Yella Beezy's name continued trending, sometimes alongside accusations, sometimes alongside defenses. Supporters accused critics of exploiting tragedy for engagement. Critics accused supporters of blind loyalty. The silence from his side remained unbroken, and that silence became louder by the day. Fans are shocked by how restraint was reframed depending on who was watching. To some, it was dignity. To others, it was strategy. Industry conversations grew more cautious. Artists avoided mentioning names. Producers dodged questions. Emotions ran high in spaces where careers and reputations intersected with public perception. Everyone understood that saying the wrong thing could pull them into a storm they couldn't control. The update had turned into a warning, not just legally but socially. The family was left divided on whether this silence from the industry was respect or fear. As speculation peaked, someone close to the situation hinted at another development coming soon. The message was vague, posted late at night, and deleted hours later. Fans are shocked at how something so small reignited the entire conversation. Screenshots spread instantly. Live streams went live within minutes. Emotions ran high as creators promised clarity, even when none existed yet. The legal process, meanwhile, moved quietly. Paperwork was filed. Meetings happened away from cameras. None of it satisfied an audience conditioned to constant updates. Without information, imagination filled the gaps, often with the worst possibilities. The family was left divided over whether this anticipation was healthy or harmful. Mo3's supporters organized online spaces meant for remembrance, but even those became battlegrounds. Arguments broke out over tone, over blame, over how much speculation was too much. Emotions ran high as grief mixed with anger, creating an environment where intentions were constantly questioned. Fans are shocked at how even moments meant for healing turned into debates. Yella Beezy was spotted briefly in public days later. No statement, no acknowledgement of cameras. Just movement. That was enough. Clips circulated within minutes, slowed down, analyzed. Emotions ran high as viewers debated what his demeanor meant this time. Fans are shocked by how repetition never dulled the reaction. It intensified it. As pressure mounted, some voices called for restraint, urging people to let the process unfold. Those voices were often drowned out by louder, more dramatic takes. The algorithm favored conflict, not caution. Emotions ran high because outrage traveled faster than reason. The family was left divided on whether stepping in to calm the narrative would help or simply add fuel. Late one night, a close associate of Mo3 posted a long message about truth and time. It didn't name names, didn't accuse, didn't confirm, but it carried weight. Fans are shocked at how quickly it was interpreted as a warning shot. Comment sections exploded, each reader finding their own meaning in the same words. Emotions ran high as people argued over intention rather than content. By now, the story had grown beyond the update that started it all. It was no longer just about what happened in a courtroom. It was about trust, memory, and the cost of public grief. The family was left divided between holding on to hope and bracing for disappointment. Fans are shocked at how deeply invested they'd become in a story with no clear ending yet. As another day closed without official news, the tension remained unresolved. Silence sat heavy, not empty. Everyone felt it. The update had done what it did best, not provide answers, but demand attention. And with that attention came pressure, emotion, and the promise that whatever came next would arrive under an unforgiving spotlight. The atmosphere surrounding the case felt combustible. It wasn't announced with fanfare or dramatic language, yet the response was immediate and overwhelming. Fans are shocked at how one small piece of information could reignite weeks of tension all over again. Emotions ran high as timelines refreshed in real time, people searching for meaning between the lines, convinced that nothing released at this stage was accidental. Mo3's family gathered privately before the news spread too far. The room was heavy with anticipation and fatigue. Some felt guarded optimism, believing this could finally bring clarity. Others braced themselves for disappointment, unwilling to let hope rise too high again. The family was left divided in their emotional preparation, each person processing the moment differently. One relative reportedly said they were tired of updates without answers, while another insisted that progress, no matter how slow, was still progress. Online, reactions split instantly. Supporters claimed the update confirmed long-held beliefs. Critics argued it still raised more questions than it answered. Fans are shocked by how quickly certainty returned, even when ambiguity remained. Comment sections became battlegrounds again, with accusations flying and patience wearing thin. Emotions ran high because everyone felt the weight of time, and time without resolution felt like injustice to many. Yella Beezy's name surfaced again, this time in connection with interpretations of what the update implied rather than what it stated outright. Supporters urged calm, reminding others that implication was not evidence. Critics dismissed that caution, arguing patterns mattered. Fans are shocked at how the same information produced completely opposite conclusions depending on who was reading it. The silence from Beezy's camp continued, and by now, people had stopped waiting for a response and started building narratives without one. Behind closed doors, legal teams adjusted strategies quietly. Meetings stretched late into the night, conversations careful and controlled. None of it was visible to the public, which only fueled frustration. Emotions ran high because the legal system moved slower than the internet, and restraint felt like avoidance to an audience conditioned to instant answers. The family was left divided over whether to trust that silence meant progress or fear that it meant stagnation. Artists connected to Mo3's circle began speaking indirectly through their work. Lyrics about loyalty, betrayal, and patience surfaced in snippets online. Fans are shocked at how quickly these lines were interpreted as coded messages. Every word was examined, every bar treated like testimony. Emotions ran high as music, once a source of connection, became another arena for speculation. At the same time, voices calling for respect grew louder, though they often struggled to break through the noise. Some reminded audiences that real people were carrying real grief behind the headlines. Others argued that public pressure was necessary to keep the story alive. The family was left divided on this point as well, torn between wanting justice and wanting peace. Fans are shocked at how hard it became to separate those two desires. Late-night debates returned, but the tone had shifted. Less excitement, more exhaustion. Emotions ran high, but now they carried frustration instead of shock. Commentators admitted they were repeating the same arguments, waiting for something new to change the conversation. The update had sustained attention, but it hadn't satisfied it. Then came a moment that surprised many. A brief, carefully worded statement from someone close to the case surfaced, urging patience and warning against conclusions. It didn't accuse, didn't defend, but it acknowledged the tension openly. Fans are shocked at how grounding it felt amid chaos. Emotions ran high as people debated whether the statement was sincere or strategic, yet even skeptics admitted it shifted the tone, if only slightly. Mo3's family responded not with words, but with presence. A public appearance meant to honor his memory rather than address the case directly drew supporters together. For a moment, the noise softened. Emotions ran high, but they felt shared rather than combative. The family was left divided internally, but united outwardly in remembering who Mo3 was beyond the controversy. Still, unresolved questions lingered. The update had not closed doors, it had outlined the shape of the hallway ahead. Fans are shocked by how much remained unknown after so much discussion. Every answer seemed to generate two more questions. The tension that began in the courtroom now lived everywhere, online, in conversations in silence. As days passed, the story settled into a strange pause. Not calm, but waiting. Emotions ran high beneath the surface, ready to rise again with the next headline. The family was left divided but resilient, carrying both hope and caution forward. Yella Beezy remained quiet, the public remained restless, and the truth remained just out of reach. What became clear was this: the update changed the story's trajectory without resolving it. It reminded everyone that this wasn't just content or controversy, but an ongoing reality with real consequences. Fans are shocked not because everything was revealed, but because so much still wasn't. And as attention slowly shifted elsewhere, one truth lingered. This chapter may have ended, but the story itself was far from over. Now that you've seen how this courtroom update sent shockwaves through the streets, the industry, and the internet, the biggest question is still hanging in the air. What really comes next? Fans are shocked because despite all the reactions, speculation, and heated debates, so many answers remain just out of reach. Emotions ran high throughout this entire situation, and you can feel that this story is far from finished. The family was left divided, supporters are still arguing, and the silence from key figures continues to raise new questions every single day. This is where you come in. If you've been following this case from the beginning, or even if this is the first time you're diving deep into it, your perspective matters. Do you think this latest update brings the truth closer, or does it only complicate things even more? Was Yella Beezy's reaction just human emotion in a tense moment, or do you believe it hinted at something deeper that hasn't been revealed yet? Fans are shocked because everyone seems to be reading the same moments in completely different ways. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is bigger than one headline or one courtroom update. If you think more information is about to surface, say that. If you believe the silence is strategic, speak on it. And if you feel this entire situation shows how quickly narratives can spiral online, let your voice be heard. Emotions ran high in the story, and they're still running high right now. Make sure you like this video if you want continued updates, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next, and turn on notifications because this story is developing fast. Stay locked in, stay respectful, and stay ready because when the next update drops, it could change everything again.